Hello there everyone, welcome back to the second video in this series of the Gundam card game main set discussion, where I kind of go over all of the relevant cards for a archetype in the main set and rate them, and then I give you a sample deck list at the end to take home and basically give it a go. As I have been at the start of all of these videos, I'm going to give some disclaimers. I'm recording this relatively soon after the card lists have been revealed and sort of scheduling them going up until release. So I don't know what the meta is going to look like, and I haven't actually tried these decks out really very much at all. So, you know, I may say some things that are quite silly once you've actually got some games in, and I apologise for that. I don't have the actual experience, but I've played a lot of card games. I've played them at a very high level for about 10 years now, and I'm a pretty competitive player. So at a bare minimum, I think I'm pretty good at understanding some of the core fundamentals of the game and what is going to get rewarded based on those mechanics. With that being said, I guess it's useful to start out and set out some of the things I think are going to be really valuable in the game. Link pairing, that's your number one thing, and that is going to really form the core of what you are doing with your deck. You need to be link pairing. It's the most valuable, most tempo-oriented thing you can do. The second thing I'll say is looking at kind of the card pool. Largely, we're going to be in kind of a mid-range soup for most decks. There is going to be some very aggressive aggro strategies, which I will talk about in the 5th video in this series, which is going to be the sort of stragglers that aren't fitting into a specific one of these sort of starter deck archetypes, stuff that kind of feels left by the wayside, and then a sort of overall ranking of where I think things are going to shake out. I'm talking about aggro there because I think there's some really scary aggro strategies that are available. They're going to be very, very important to think about as you build your decks. So that's one thing. I say for that, this is probably the most late game deck we're going to have, and I'll talk about that. I'll talk about the really cool aspect of that. But, you know, the fact that you're going to be... I would say this is probably not the deck I would start out playing with. I think there's going to be a lot of aggro in our early meta. With that being said, let's go ahead and jump right into talking about the cards. Oh, sorry, one other thing. Forgot to say the one last thing. This is a Bandai card game, so by and large, your deck is going to be built around Legend Rares and Rares. That is kind of just how it works. They print based on power level. They don't really design with limited in mind. You're not going to have, like, uncommon and common bombs most of the time. Sometimes they slip through. Sometimes there is a really strong common or a really strong uncommon. But by and large, if the card's a higher rarity, it's probably going to be one you're more likely to play. By and large, if a card has an alt art, it's probably going to be one that's going to see play. That's how they design it, and, you know, it makes things a bit easier to evaluate. Gives you a little bit of comfort. Sometimes they are very off base, though, and they do underrate or overrate certain cards. It is what it is. Although I would expect them to be relatively good with the first set of the game. Let's go ahead and jump into it now. So we'll begin with Duos Leos. This is a 2/2 for 2. That pairs with, that links with Duo Maxwell. This unit may choose an active enemy unit that's level 2 or lower as its attack target. So a 2/2 for 2 is not great. It's a vanilla 2/1 will be a 2/2. However, the fact this links is going to increase it in my rankings, primarily because this is something that you are going to be able to actually take and close out games with. I'm also very high on this card because it lets you interact with stuff immediately. On that level 3 turn, you can just snipe out whatever your opponent played on level 2. Duo Maxwell, and this is going to happen a lot, let's go through and let's have a little look at what Duo Maxwell does, who is here. So Duo Maxwell is one of the build-around pilots. I'll sort of address this now. By and large, you're kind of going to be building around these pilot Gundam pairs. You have to link pair. It's so important in the game. And as a result, really what we're looking for here is redundancy. We're making sure that our pilots can go onto as many units as possible. And so we are probably choosing 2 pilots to build around, maybe 3. And if we're building around 3, we probably want some redundancy there. This is a relatively unique case from what I've seen, this deck, so we'll kind of come on to that more later. But anyway, so that's why I think it's really important to understand these. So what does this do is +1/+2, so big, beefy HP stat there. During Link, this unit's AP can't be reduced by enemy effects. What does this mean? This is going to be very valuable into those white decks. They're going to be doing lots of interacting with reducing your AP. Okay, so what does that make this? Well, this will make it a 3/4 that's going to go ahead and nuke whatever your opponent played on their second turn or their first turn. That's pretty good. Also, something your opponent's going to have to trade into. Maybe it gets a 2-for-1. You know, that value is always going to be really important. Overall, I think if you are building around Duo Maxwell, you're probably going to put 4 copies of this card in your deck. And you have a very strong reason to build around Duo Maxwell. So, Maganak, this is a vanilla 3/2, can't link. So ordinarily, I'd be like, not great. There is a caveat, because this card can be cheated out. I don't think that's enough to save it, but I think it is a card that we should be aware of. Rasid's Maganak, this is a 3/2, 2/3, deploy, choose one of your green units. During this turn, it may choose an active enemy unit with 4 or less AP as its attack target, and this links with any Maganap Core trait. I think this is a decent card. I just don't think you can justify going into the Maganap Core as an archetype. Wing Gundam. This is on deploy, place an EX resource. This ramps. This is a staple 4 of in this deck. You are trying to ramp out some real big beasties. We'll come on to what those look like soon, but really, obviously, you don't want to spend your EX resource on this. You want to be maintaining those EX resources as late as possible, so you are getting really far ahead of your opponent. So the ideal will be you go first, you play this on your turn 3, or you go second and you play this on your turn 3. And you just see it on curve, and that's going to let you go straight to, up to level 4. The next time you'll be level 5 with more resources to spend, and you're getting much closer to playing out that your top-end bombs. We'll come on to those, but yeah, this is a staple 4 of. You are not playing this deck without ramp. Gundam Death Scythe. So here is the first portion of the reason why we'd want to be on Duo Maxwell, the second of 3 cards. So Gundam Death Scythe, this is just a repair 1 for 3. This will be a 5/5 if you link it as a level 4. It's not bad. It's really not bad at all. 5/5 is pretty hefty. Does get in. It's not quite above that really meaningful breakpoint, but it's, you know, it's above the 4 HP breakpoint, which does exist as well. Does some really efficient trades very early in the game. I think this is a very, very solid card. Okay, then we've got Gundam Heavy Arms. So this is going to be a Troa Barton link, and there's a lot of Troa stuff here that's quite tempting to go that route. During pair, this gains Breach 3. So Breach is a hugely powerful keyword, because in this game you are in that kind of mid-range soup. The fact that you can get rewarded by dealing damage for doing trades anyway is great, and frankly, this is just an efficiently statted unit. Like, this is a level 2, 3, 4. Like, this is just good. This is a really, really good card. The biggest thing is going to be, can we justify being in Troa Barton? That's really going to be the only thing to hang up on this. Shenlong Gundam. So here we have another amazing set of pilots, and we're going to start to see the issue with this deck. So Chang Wufei, and actually, I guess I'll go back and I'll talk about those pilots in a moment. But Shenlong Gundam, again, this has Breach 3. This is a level 3, 4/3. So 4/3 versus a level 2, 3/4. I do think that Heavy Arms is a bit better, but let's go ahead and have a look at those pilots just so we have some context, because I'm going to keep talking about them. So Chang Wufei is during your turn, while this unit has Breach, it can't receive battle damage from enemy units with 3 or less AP. So this is an early game, like, destructive force. You're basically like, you're going to be able to get huge value in your trades if you go down this route. Now, what does that mean? It means you have to very much build around Breach. One of the issues with this deck is there is not really any redundancy, and that is going to be the key problem. Chang Wufei is going to have to go on a link pair. There's nothing else really. So not ideal. For what it's worth, it can go onto most of the deck, and a lot of the deck is going to have Breach anyway. So this is strong. It's +2/+1 as well. It's giving you a lot of stats. Our other option in Troa Barton is further down. So Troa Barton is a versatile card. It's a command pilot. The pilot side of the command card is +1/+1. That's a lot better than what we see elsewhere. And then the main is choose on a unit that gains Breach 3. So that's actually a pretty good main effect anyway. Now, I'm not 100% sure, and I think whether or not this is true is going to affect my decision. But if Breach stacks, then I think this is very, very powerful, because if you give this to a unit that already has Breach, you can potentially deal 2 damage to your opponent, right? So that and obviously you can only do it to the first card in the opponent's shield area. So I think there's like some real incredible potential here if you can double up on the Breach, where you can snipe out an EX base and then snipe out a damage, or you can snipe out a full base and then snipe out damage. I don't know if Breach stacks, and that's going to be a really big issue. If you can't give Breach onto a unit that already has Breach or something, then this is going to be terrible. Now, my reading is this is likely going to be, it does stack. That is how I would imagine it works. I can't really see a reason why you can't stack keywords. It works with repair, so why wouldn't it work with Breach? And therefore, I think this card is incredibly strong. Okay, so now we have that context. Let's move back up to the units, and we can look at Gundam Sandrox. This is a 2/4/3, so great stats. Quadra burner winner. Let's go down and have a look there. Who is this card? So this card is very good. So Peaceful Timber as the command basically says, no, I'm not going to take damage. This is going to stop Breach. It's also going to stop a direct hit. That is very good. I do not want to undersell this. It also is going to give you +1/+1 on pilot. So there's a huge amount going for this. The biggest issues, really the biggest issue, is the fact that there is only one unit that you can pilot this onto, and that is just not enough. It is not. There is no generic Operation Meteor link pair. If there was, I would be all over this card. Unfortunately, it's just, yeah, it just sucks. Like, there's literally only to be fair, there are 2 Gundam Sandrock. Sorry, there are 2 Gundam Sandrock. So it's 2 cards. This one is significantly better. So this is the deploy. You may deploy a Magnet Core unit card from your hand. So you do get that free unit. You can spam out the board, and then you slam, you pilot it up. So at level 5, you've got a 5/5 that's going to swing and do some trading. You also have a 2/3. That's good. It is a lot of cards out of your hand. I'm not 100% sure this is the route we want to go, but it is a very viable route. You're going to see there are just... One is guaranteed, one is going to be this Wing Gundam route, and then the second route is very likely to be Duo Maxwell. So then you're kind of looking for the third, and it's like, how much deck space do we really have to then put in a whole third pilot line? How many cards can we dedicate to it? It just becomes a thing where it's like, I just don't think this is better than the other options, even though, like, they're all really solid. And I think in terms of a budget deck, you could probably make a really solid budget deck here. Okay, so our second Shenlong Gundam, this has Breach 4, attack, choose an unit with blocker that's level 3 or lower, destroy it. So this is a hugely powerful card. If blockers become meta, this is going to be the way you want to go. And I think that's worth saying, right? You have an amazing versatile option here to just pivot into this Shenlong Gundam route. Breach 4 is not quite as good as Breach 5. It is a very meaningful difference because it's 5 HP on the best bases, but... oh, it's really strong, you know? Like, the fact that you are going to potentially nuke something for free is huge. So, I don't know. I wouldn't sleep on this. I do think, though, obviously, if there's no blockers in the format, then this is terrible. So that's the thing, right? If there are blockers, this is incredible. Okay, Wing Gundam, it's fine. It's a level 5, 2 cost 4/3. It's a very hefty level, but it is Hero UE traded, and you do want that redundancy, so it is what it is. You are, for what it's worth... Also worth saying in this deck, level 5, you are ramping, right? So you're going to go from 3 to 5, ideally. So the level matters a bit less. This is also giving you some really nice redundancy for when you go second, because if you go second on your... you'll be level 4, you played on 3, and then you go up to 5, and you could just play this out, but you're not going to. Actually, no, sorry, I don't know what I was saying. I did the math wrong. Ignore. Okay, another Gundam Heavy Arms here. This is level 5, 3 cost during pair. During your turn, when this unit destroys an enemy unit with battle damage, deal 1 damage to all enemy units that are level 3 or lower. So this is a really strong anti-aggro tool. You know, if your opponent's going really wide with lots of very low HP units, this is potentially just going to clean up that board, really let you stabilize. It is another Trail Barton card. So again, we do need to sort of see that top end there. Okay, I'm going to quickly talk about Tailgeese here, and just this is going to be a little bit of a spiel on Oz. So, for some reason, Oz is part of this starter deck. It just doesn't fit. You don't need it. Like, I just see there's no... Like, this is a powerful card. And I think if any splashable unit is going to see play, it will be this. Because it's a 4/4. If it survives the turn, it can potentially just 2-bang your opponent, right? Like, you just slam it down, and then you go boom boom. It's once per turn that you get to set the unit as active. You're not going to be able to do it on the turn it comes down unless you're very late in the game, which is possible. So, for what it's worth, there is an argument, but then you kind of need to play Zex Marquise if you are also doing that. And I'm just like, do we want to be doing this? I don't think so. Then looking at the Oz support, I mean, I'm not to spoil the final video in the series, but there's just not very much of it. I don't really see why you'd want to be an Oz, to be honest. Like, this is a great card, don't get me wrong, but it just did not get the level of support it needs. And we're coming up to the main set Legend Rares, and you'll see why, but I just don't think this is what you want to be doing. Okay, Gundam Death Scythe. So here is why we want to be in Duo Maxwell. This is the reason. It's a level 6 4 cost. When paired with an Operation Meteor pilot, so this is a huge deal. It is, you are always going to lock that down. Ramp a rested resource, and this unit gains first strike during this turn. This is crazy. So you are going to nuke anything. Okay, so first off, right, any of the Operation Meteor pilots you're playing are going to make this thing quite big. You want to be linking this with Duo Maxwell. Let's just again refresh ourselves. On Duo Maxwell is a it is a +1/+2, and during link this unit's AP can't be reduced by any effect. So you are going to guarantee be dealing the damage. How much damage are we dealing? Okay, so this is going to be a 6/6. That's going to go in on curve. It's going to nuke anything. It has first strike, so it's not taking back any damage. And it ramps. This card is absolutely crazy for this strategy. I just cannot see a universe where you do not want to be in Death Scythe, and because you want to be in Death Scythe, you want to be in Duo Maxwell. And I think that's kind of the issue I'm seeing. It's like, well, you have to be in Death Scythe, and you have to be in our next card here, which is going to be Wing Gundam, which is the second one of your absolute top-end bombs. There are 3. Wing Gundam, this card is ridiculous. Breach 5. This unit may choose an active enemy unit, level 4 or lower, its attack target. Hero Yui makes us a 7/7 on link pair. This just is crazy. We haven't talked about Hero Yui. Let's quickly talk about him. So he's +2/+1, but on link he gives an additional +1/+1, so he becomes a +3/+2 pilot, which is the biggest stats in the game. Just insanely valuable. You have to be in this. This is why you want to be playing the deck. So just so strong. And then finally we have even here's our top end. This is the biggest unit in the game. Level 8, 8 cost. Wing Gundam 0. High maneuver. Deal 3 damage to all units that are level 5 or lower. So this can really represent a board clear. And you pair this with Hero Yui, it becomes an 8/9. It is unfathomably huge. There is no hard removal in this game. There is none. So this unit needs to be removed by effect damage or bouncing or like just throwing units into it. This thing is not dying. This is your, like, that's it. The board is locked down. You are not killing this card. I am dealing with anything you play. This card is absolutely insane. Huge top-end beast. Just very good. And obviously it has high maneuver, so it's massive. So it can also just come in and just clean through everything. Your opponent's never going to be able to block it. It's just a really good card. I wish I had Breach for what it's worth, but I mean, this card is crazy. You probably don't play that many copies of it, but my god, it's very good. Okay, so that's your top end, and you kind of understand why we need to be in the pilots we need to. You kind of have to be in Duo Maxwell. You kind of have to be in Hero Yui. So where do we go from here? Is a quick little word on Zex. Just while we're on it. I mean, again, this is a really solid link. During your turn, when this unit destroys an enemy unit with battle damage, draw 1. +2/+1 is a very solid card. When we get more Oz, I definitely will want to be taking a closer look at this. But until we do, I just don't think this is something we care about. Okay, so now I'm going to talk about the interesting thing. So you'll notice that that was all green and the blue stuff is basically anemic. What that means is we actually can, like, we have a huge amount of deck building versatility here to choose which way we want to go. Now, I don't think we actually value any of the units, really, from these colors. And my main considerations, I think you're either going to go blue or you're either going to go white. And they both have their advantages, so I'm going to show you the options here. But I think, you know, both give you access to blockers if you need to go down that route. White obviously has a few more. And they give you access to different kind of tools. So Overflowing Affection here is draw 2, discard 1 for 1 at level 2. This card is incredible. It's so good. This may be what you want to be in. This might be what you need. You need the filter rather than the long-term plussing. These kind of all come together. So first contact, here's another staple. This is ramp, right? Burst, place in the X resource, so you can just trigger it, which is broken, or you just get a rested resource. This is what you want to be seeing on curve, ideally, rather than Wing Gundam. You want to go first. You like pass turn 1, turn 2 you play something if you can, but you don't really care. Turn 3 you ramp, so you are going to be falling behind on board, but then you're coming into, like, you know, level 5 resources. Like, that's when you swing things right back in your favor, shear through your opponent's board, and then you position yourself to slam one of your big boys while your opponent's really not doing a huge amount. I mean, just, yeah, super strong card. This is going to be a staple in every ramp strategy. Rashid's Order and Rashid Kurama. So the command side of this is main action. Choose a unit that's level 4 or lower. Or higher. During this turn, it may choose an active enemy unit with 6 or SAP as attack target. So this is going to let you snipe out stuff directly. It's okay. Only +0/+1. Maganak Core. I don't think we value this at all. Siege Ploy. So this, well, okay. We value it to the extent that, like, if you go down that Maganak route, you value it. Siege Ploy. This is a blue option. Burst activates this card main in action. Choose an enemy with 5 or less HP and rest it. This is not bad for what it's worth. This can let you survive a turn, but I just think it's like, you know, whatever. I mean, 5 HP is a lot. I just don't think we really want to be spending deck space on this card. Take a Stand, Citizens is going to buff all your units by +2 AP during this turn. Maybe... Probably not. Like, I think probably not. The biggest use I see for this card is in, like, really go wide aggro decks to just, like, buff your whole board and let you counter your opponent, like, playing a big base. Otherwise, I just see no purpose. A Show of Resolve. So this is a very compelling reason to be in blue. It's going to let you draw 2. Very strong as you hit the later stages of the game and you're running out of cards, you're running out of resources. Just being able to refill is really good. And this is the draw to blue versus the draw to white. Intercept orders, this is another great card, another big draw to blue. Main action, choose 1 to 2 enemy units with 3 or less HP and rest them. So obviously it's a command card, you have to hold it up on your opponent's turn. But this can be a nice anti-aggro tool. So again, how much are we respecting aggro? Do we want to be in blue? This is going to be a consideration if we do. We've talked about Trevor Barton. I think this card's incredible. We've talked about Peaceful Timber. I think this card's incredible. Fortress Defense, Dozal Zabis. This is a Xeon card, but I think it's quite generic because for 5, level 5 2 cost, you make 2 1/1s. Sometimes you just need to go a bit wide. Like sometimes that's going to get you there. Now, I doubt we're actually playing that in this deck, but I wanted to flag it. It's an interesting card. It might be something you want to be doing. Okay, the path to victory or defeat. So this is another huge draw to be in this deck. This is the only card of this type in the game. So this is main. Look at the top 5 cards of your deck. Reveal an Operation Meteor G or G Team unit card or pilot card. Add it to your hand. And then put the rest at the bottom. So this searches your whole deck. I need to emphasize that. This literally searches your whole deck. It adds every pilot. It adds every unit. So that's a damn good reason to want to be in this color, in this deck. This is just going to let you find exactly what you need. It's level 5, so really you're going to be using it to find your top end later in the game. But, like, cool. That's what we want to be playing. We want to be playing on top end. So just, yeah, very, very powerful card. A Witch and the Bride, sort of talked about this in the last video, but this is a very powerful tempo card. Another draw to be in white. Strategic Arms. Deal 2 damage to all units with blocker. I don't think this card's very good, but if blockers are everywhere, this becomes valuable, so just a consideration. White base. So here is another reason to want to be in blue. This is the best base in the game. It's just, you know, it gives you so much value. You make these tokens. It's a great base. So, you know, this is a big draw to be in blue. Corsica base as a backup. Another very, very powerful base. Lets you make another token. Lets you make multiple tokens. Again, another big draw to want to be in blue. Foulmail, I will mention this just in case, because the white bases are pretty disappointing. This plays a rested 3/1 token if it's your turn. It's not great, but it is a backup option if you, like, because the green bases are pretty dire. So it's there. Kusanagi is probably your best option in white, which will bounce one of your opponent's enemy units with 3 or less HP. This is very, very good. It's only 4 HP though, so do we want to be being in that 4 HP? I don't think so, but, you know, again, if you want to be in white, this is something you'll be considering. And that's it. So that is all of the options. So now we've kind of talked about them. I'll give you my impressions. We're going to cut, and I will go to the deck list, and we'll talk about my first draft of this build. Alrighty, here we have my first crack at the deck list. So this might look a little odd because there's not many early game units, but I think it's good. I mean, I think you're going to capitulate to aggro, so I'm shelving this deck until aggro is kind of out of the format, and then when we're in the more mid-range soup, I think this deck becomes absolutely crazy. Let's talk about my choices. So you'll see I'm in Duo, I'm in Hero Yui, and I'm also in a little bit of Troa, just because I think the card is so powerful, and it's very versatile. So you'll see I haven't actually put in a huge number of those cards. So I'm on 4 copies of Duo's Leo. As I sort of set out, this is a good turn 1 play. It can do a little bit of interaction, but really, you know, it's going to be very nice later in the game to potentially close out the game. It just gives you that nice little bit of versatility. 4 Gundam Wing. Again, we're Wing Gundam bird mode. We're trying to ramp, so that makes sense. Only 3 of this level 5 Wing Gundam. I couldn't quite squeeze in the 4th, but I think that's enough. We have enough synergy with Hero Yui, and this becomes an absolute bomb if you do play this on that level 5, but it's kind of competing. Like, you got to be quite careful with your links here in this deck, so it's competing a bit. It's a decently statted card. It's just a body. This could get cut. I'm not sure, but I do like it for what it is. You could make this the other Troa Maxwell card, Troa Barton card, but then I think you'd probably want to be playing some more Troas. So Gundam Heavy Arms, this is the one I went with because of the pair to deal 1 damage to all units. I figured, like, this can just give you maybe some slightly more efficient trades. It makes it a 4/5 that can kill 5 HP units that are level 3 or lower. There's not going to be many of those. Maybe this was the wrong choice. The other option has Breach. You can kind of swap it out. Either one is going to be pretty good. I think this card is decent. And then obviously we have our bombs, right? 4 Death Scythe, 4 Wing Gundam, 3 Wing Gundam, 2 Wing Gundam 0. Like, that's why we're in this deck. We want to be seeing those. And that's when the power level's really going to start to shift. Arguably, you know what? Yeah, arguably we should be on 3 Wing Gundam 0. So let's do that. 3 Wing Gundam 0. And then obviously 4 Joe Maxwell and 4 Hiro Yui. These are your core pilots. And 2 Trevor Barton to round us up to 10 pilots. Good to have. 4 copies of First Contact. This, again, like, really, you just need to ramp on curve. This is your ideal ramp. You want to be playing 4 copies of this card just for the chance that you burst it and then just get to blow out your opponent. But yeah, just is a very, very, very good card. 3 copies of Show of Resolve. Couldn't quite justify 4. You don't really want to see it early game anyway. You want to see it later on in the game. So a few less copies didn't seem like a big deal to me. And similarly, 3 copies of the Path to Victory or Defeat. You can't use this to get level 5. So it's not like something you can just do turn 1. So, but you do want to be seeing it later on in the game to just filter through and get your bombs. So I did want to play 3 copies of this. And not just your bombs, but also get your link pairings, right? Like, this is just going to set you up to link pair really consistently. Maybe you play 4 copies, and once I test out the deck, that might be what it is, but at the moment, I don't know that you need to. And then I'm on 5 bases rather than 4. You want to be playing, I feel like, a certain number of bases. I don't know if 5 is the right number for this deck. You know, it's good to have the defensive capability. Obviously, I'm on 4 white base, and then 1 Corsica base. I think it was the next best option. I could see that Corsica base getting cut if 4 white bases ends up being enough. And there we go. So that is... If you guys found this video useful, helpful, whatever, let me know in the comment section down below. Oh, camera's chugging. I'll spare you guys that. Let me know if you enjoyed this in the comment section down below. Like the video if you did as well. Please do subscribe to the channel for lots more Gundam card game content. There will be, like, much more tested gameplay and stuff coming down the line once I get all the cards and everything. But at the moment, I think, you know, this is a great starting point. One of the things I really like about this deck is basically the core is just green, and then you have like 8 cards that you can splash from a different color. So if you want to be in white, you can be in white. If you want to be in red, you can be in red. I think red's the least compelling option, but it's there. Once next set comes around and we have purple, you might want to be in purple. We don't know. But I really like that there's that kind of, the core is in 1 color, versus basically all of the other decks that, like, you kind of are locked into those 2 colors. So of all the decks with the most deck building potential and the most ability to maybe adapt to the meta, this is probably the one with the greatest at the moment, which is kind of funny, just by nature of being so fixed in what it has to play. But there we go. Thanks for watching. Hope to see you guys in the next video. Cheers.